Watkins, good morning. Thanks for your time. We normally are here on Victory Monday, but this past weekend we played a very good team in Riverside College, number one team in the nation, and we knew that. 61, 26. There were a couple things that I think you would agree with that we could have done a lot better. But would love to hear about your insight about the game and what you thought about Riverside College.
Obviously disappointed in the overall result. The score being what it was. Thought it was a very hard fought game for the first three quarters.
Sure.
Our boys came out and played well early, and responded to some adversity early the way we would like them to do so. But truth be told, we made too many mistakes that can't overcome versus the best team in the country. I think they're two in the country, one in the state, or whatever it was going into the game last week. But in games like that, especially when you're the underdog, you have to play better than we did. You have to be more efficient. You take care of the ball better because those types of teams are championship teams for a reason. They're going to capitalize on those mistakes, and that's definitely what they did. I think we had 3 turnovers to their 0, and I think all 3 of ours turned out to be touchdowns for them. So that's a 21-point swing right there. Offensively, we turned the ball over on a strip sack fumble that directly led to 7 points early in the game. It was 7-7 at the time, and or 14-7 at the time maybe, and pushed it to 21-7 going into the half. And so when you're playing a championship caliber team like Riverside City College is, you don't want to be playing catch up. And so got to clean those mistakes up and take better care of the ball, and looking to bounce back next week.
You're right. I mean, we talked about it prior to this, before the game, that turnovers will be key, and most of the times there's a lot of luck involved, or in this case, unlucky as far as how the ball bounces. We fumbled twice, we lost both. I believe, if I recall correctly, they fumbled the ball 3 times, and we didn't recover one of them. So it's a matter of bounces here and there, and then let me go back to that again. And you like you said, the score isn't pretty.
Oh yeah.
Anytime anyone puts up 61 points against it, there's nothing more to say about was it that bad of a game? But as you were saying, it wasn't that bad. Just taking a look at the first downs, we were almost even. Riverside City College had 26 first downs versus 22 of ours. So the turnovers became a factor. Like you said, 21 points off of turnovers, including a failed point after try that led to 2 points the other way. So you're right, the turnovers was definitely a key there. Now, the numbers with where we got hurt is obviously the rushing. These guys rushed for 354 yards. Was it just a case of these guys were that big of a team?
It was a couple things. Coach Kraft does an amazing job on offense.
Sure.
I was actually talking to my DC earlier in the week, and I was telling him that Coach Kraft is one of the best that I've ever seen as far as making in-game adjustments. He's going to find the weakness, and he's going to poke it until he can't anymore. Historically, Coach Kraft has been known for throwing the ball all over the ballpark all night. And so that was our focus all week, was stopping the pass, which we did. We stopped the pass. We were able to execute that portion of the game plan really, really well. But they were able to adjust, and they found something that was good to them, and they stuck with it. Anytime you're running the ball as efficiently as they did and not turning it over, you have a really good chance of being successful. We have to be more stout against the run, and we got to wrap up better and tackle the ball carrier and get off the field, because taking that type of, when you're in that type of a game where you're asked to fit the run 50 times, versus a very physical O-line as well as physical running backs, it takes its toll on the defense, and so some of those carries late in the game, that would usually be 3-4 yard gains, or 2-3 yard gains, are now turning into 9 yard gains or 29 yard gains, and so that comes with the wear and tear of having to fit it all night, and so we were not expecting them to run the ball as much as they did, but kudos to them for making that adjustment, and obviously it worked out in their favor.
You're right, and that's the interesting part of this game, is that we were expecting these guys to throw. We were able to, whether it was us making them adjust, The stats speaks for itself. I mean, RCC had 162 yards in passing compared to our 286, and the script was almost flipped as far as what they were able to do on the ground. Now, go after a game like this, the spirits were high entering this game, and now obviously suffering this loss. What do you tell the players how to keep them motivated? And obviously, the season's it's fresh, it's early, it's there's still a lot of football to be played.
Yeah.
What do you and the coaching staff, hammer into the players' heads that, hey, it's one game, we're going to come back, we're going to make adjustments, and we're going to continue to get after it?
Yeah, that was kind of my messaging to the boys after the game. It's everything that we've set out to accomplish this season is still in front of us.
Uh-huh.
This past loss does not affect anything that we have set out to do. And so as we talk about being 1-0 when we win, we did accomplish that this past Saturday. We're 0-1, and so we reviewed the film yesterday. We'll make the corrections throughout the course of this week and next as we get ready for El Camino. And we're going to be 1-0 on the 19th, and so it's a really good deal for us. It's if you're going to lose a game, and let it be to the number one team in the country.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It gives us a chance to see up close and personal where that benchmark is. If you want to be an elite team in the state, you're gonna have to go through Riverside at some point.
Yeah.
So it was a really good learning experience for us. And sometimes you can learn more from a loss than you can from 4 wins in a row.
Sure.
So it was easy, or I assume it's going to be a lot easier to refocus our guys. Let them know, hey, the things that we're asking you guys to do and the level of preparation and focus and effort that we're asking of you is what's necessary for us to be successful against elite football teams. And so sometimes getting knocked down is a good thing. It's sometimes you can set the course of your remainder of your season after suffering a loss like we did this past Saturday. And so we're looking forward to building on the mistakes we made, correcting those mistakes, and becoming more efficient and more focused. And hopefully that leads us towards more victories in the latter half of the season.
I couldn't agree more. I think, we've talked quite a bit offline. This can be one of those good things of turning a negative into a positive, and like you said, making us kind of focus on what are the things that we do need to improve on. And if there was a team that we can find out who we are and what we are, it would be against Kraft and RCC. So now, moving forward now, we've got El Camino, who by no means is an easy match as well. They're 4-1. They had an amazing comeback this season. Coach Griff and Colin over that El Camino run a very good program. What do we expect from them? And also, last year we lost them the final seconds, 51-44 at home. What do we know about them? What do we need to do in order to come out with a victory?
Yeah, last year opening conference play against them. It's a game that I probably will never forget as long as I'm coaching this game. I think we lost the game 51-44, something like that. And we had the ball inside their 3-yard line on 3 separate occasions and got 0 points. I think our defense that night forced like 5 or 6 turnovers, and we couldn't capitalize. And they stormed back to take victory away from us in that game. And so we're looking forward to competing against them this upcoming week at their place. Coach Gift does an amazing job with his guys. He's building a really good program there, and everywhere he's been thus far has been an elite program. And so I'm not surprised by the success that they've had. They have a phenomenal roster. They have a lot of guys who are extremely talented, and so we fully expect to have to play our best football to be competitive in this one. And so that's the thing about our conference. I believe that that National Central is one of the toughest conferences, definitely in the state. It's a who's who of perennial powers in Southern California JUCO ball, and so every single week here we have to bring it. There are no cupcake games in the National Central. Any and everybody in that conference is more than capable of beating you. And I believe that there's 6 teams in the conference that are fully capable of winning the conference championship. You talk about El Camino and Cerritos and Palomar and Mount Sac and Fullerton. All those teams are capable of beating you week in and week out. And so It's going to be it's going to be an exciting time for us, and the preparation and the challenge that's ahead. We're looking forward to it.
Well, Coach, bye week. What are the plans for this week? What do you have on the docket for not only yourself but the coaching staff and including the players?
Yeah, bye week. It's a week for us. It's a normal week. We just don't play on Saturday. We're gonna scale back a little bit on the physicality and practice and try to get some guys who are a little banged up a couple extra days of rest. But we're gonna be out there working and using the extra days of practice to prepare for our first conference opponent. And so there's a fine line during the bye week, especially the junior college level, of how much is too much and how much how little is too little. And so in the past couple of years, I think we found a pretty good balance of making sure that we're getting the work in at the same. Making sure that we're getting that work in, but not compromising, the opportunity to get a little bit healthier and get some fresher legs going into conference play. And so we'll be down there getting after it, getting practice in and getting prepared for El Camino next week.
Well, Coach, I thank you for your time. Again, definitely kind of a rough week after that game, but from what I've seen, I think we'll be able to bounce back sooner than later here. Next home game, next game is going to be Saturday, October 19th at El Camino College, 6 p.m. And we'll be looking forward and hopefully do this video on a Victory Monday.
I hope so too.